That's right, and his opponent in the top right-hand side in the red. Representing Team Alpha X, it is the GSL player. His name is Astrea. One of the best names in all of StarCraft. Gosh.
Max Angel.
And between Astrea, who is Max Angel, we've got Neeb, who is Alex Sunderhaft, which is awesome. And even today, we casted TLO, Dario Vunch, like some great, just solid, just from a purely casting standpoint, fun names to say, if nothing else.
The Wunderwunsch. I do love that. I do love that nickname. We are seeing Astrea go for a probe scout here, so he just wants to make sure his opponent's not throwing down any cheeky proxies, and he doesn't have to worry about that.
Or even second racks. We've seen a couple 2-racks openers today, notably in our TBTs, of course. But we're seeing. I feel like I'm seeing a lot more 2 and 3 racks builds in almost all matchups. Terrans seem to be getting more and more aggressive in the early game in the last few months. Have you noticed that, or am I sort of imagining that, Steadfast?
It is a cycle that kind of happens just to keep opponents honest. Is usually the goal there. We saw Astrea, by the way, check back in, make sure it was not a reactor first. It was not. Is that a hole in the wall, by the way? The anti-Reaper wall? Yeah, you can jump. You can move through there.
It's so hard to tell. Can you? Oh my gosh. Well, jheffe will know about it. Certainly, he certainly saw it there with that probe. Some little dinking around with the probe, but he may be able to sneak in. Let's find out. The probe going all the way back, or the SCV rather. The probe going all the way back home. And let's see if this Reaper can get it. That's interesting. I've never been good at telling if Protoss buildings have openings in them or not, because the graphics sometimes are a little confusing.
Yeah, especially anything that's kind of like, that Adept with the trap. It was a fake Adept shade there, by the way, from Astrea.
Nice.
And he's not going to be able to... No, he is. He's going to absolutely be able to get that. Okay, so it was a hole in the wall. Did jheffe see that Twilight Council? Looks like he did, yes. Was able to determine that.
Saw the Twilight Council, didn't probably see this Robo that's just gotten started at the natural, but you know, there's like a good solid 90% chance you're going to see the Robo after Twilight Council. Does this look to you like Blink or Glaives?
This is absolutely going to be Blink. If it's, I would be amazed if it was Glaives. I would be so impressed and disappointed at the same time.
I would too. Not very common. Adept gonna pop in though. It shouldn't get into the main base. Nice depot raised there by jheffe. So let's see. He's just going for the 1-1-1 behind this, getting a Widow Mine out. Looks like a Widow Mine drop might be queued up here for jheffe. If we see that medevac coming out very quickly, which we do. I like the idea of a Widow Mine drop here. They've always been a pretty solid standard opener for Terran players since the Widow Mine became a thing. Oh my god, the Adept's gonna get in though. The Adept's gonna get in here, Steadfast. Oh no!
The Widow Mine actually blocked the ramp from lifting, and now we're gonna see... Oh, I like Astrea's decision not to go after that one... Well, now I don't, because he missed out on it, but I originally liked the decision to not go after that one SCV. Hellion, by the way, sent out for a... in an attempt to block like a 4-minute third, but Astrea not going for that. He did go up to that 3-gate setup, so it wasn't a very, very quick, I would say, Astrea special, where he sometimes goes for like a 2-gate third nexus.
Which would be unsurprising. I think sometimes players are more likely to do those sort of economic cheese style builds when they're playing against a player they feel might be a little less talented than they are. Of course, these Stalkers will spot the drop coming in, get a couple shots off, but not able to take it down. That should mean Astrea warping in. Yeah, 3 more Stalkers coming into the natural. He's going to drive those back to a natural, and I don't think this drop's going to get anything done, Steadfast.
Yeah, no, this is always meant to be a pressure drop. But you do want to get, if you can, at least like 1 or 2 probes with it. Not going to be the case here, though. And Astrea, how many gates is he on? He is on just 3 gates, so it's just going to be some very light pressure here. jheffe does have that bunker there, but he is kind of poised to lose a couple of SCVs. I think that is the first tank. Yes, it is. And, well, this does not cover the entire mineral line.
No, you can see that line for the tank just barely barely covering the north side of the mineral line. The south side completely exposed, though. It's going to mean not only a loss of those 3 SCVs, but a loss of the assimilator, or the refinery rather, and a loss of a lot of mining time. And look at this. With this blink, jheffe knows he can get on top of that tank if it sieges up again. He's going to go for it. There's the aggressive blink. The tank not going to siege up in time. Tank number 1 goes down. SCVs pull off the line steadfast. Does jheffe have any chance of pulling out of this?
With the War Prism Micro coming down, this becomes so difficult to deal with. Now, the second tank does pop out, and Astrea, he's got to be very careful about how far forward he moves. Ooh, look at that. He actually moved 1 Stalker forward to ensure that he would not have to deal with a lot of splash damage, and he's actually just going to go for this tank. And yeah, I was going to say, once that goes down, jheffe has nothing.
Gone, man. Solid. Gone. Astrea grabbing a quick Game 1 win off the back of those Blink Stalkers. Unsurprising, but a very aggressive play out of Astrea. A player who's not afraid to be aggressive. Of course, Astrea's been training in Korea for the past 6 months to a year. I think I'm not exactly sure when he moved out there. But man, if you're going to learn to be aggressive as a Protoss player, coming from the NA server where you've got to be aggressive to survive, and then moving to Korea where you've got to have those impeccable micro skills and great macro behind it as a Protoss player, I feel like Astrea is in a really solid position to build on his foundations and really take himself to the next level here. He's showing just great games so far.
Yeah, I would say that the big strength of the Korean ladder is build order refinement. A lot of times, Korea is really good at exploiting holes in your build. So if you don't have it perfectly figured out, a lot of times they'll find, you know, a 4 to 6 second timing, and they'll kill you with it. I would say one of the best examples of this, it's not as common as it used to be. It used to be like 2015, 2016, 2017. That was it for everything. But I would say that's still quite a prevalent thing, and one of the most prolific people for that is probably Parting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he is definitely a good player at not just refining builds, but figuring out, you know, on a Protoss build where a good place to attack is. Parting he's terrifying, man. If you're trying something new, don't try it against Parting.
Yeah, you're gonna have a bad time.
Gonna have a bad time. Well, let's hop into game 2 and hope that jheffe. Oh my gosh, jheffe. That's right. jheffe doesn't have a bad time here in game 2. Oh, I screwed up that name very badly because it's jheffe is Spanish for boss, right? Like boss man.
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't know what the J is for. Anyway, it's not important. Let's introduce our players. Spawning in the bottom left-hand side in the red, repping the US of A and Team Alpha X. It's Astrea.
And his opponent spawning up in the top right position of the map. It is the blue Terran player. Give it up for jheffe.
I hit the zoom out button, not the camera rotate button. Sorry about that, Steadfast.
That is okay. It took me a while to get used to the controls. I feel pretty confident in my camera spins these days, but it took like hours of just doing it, like just like in a random lobby. I was like, I'm gonna break this down. I'm gonna do this. I think I spent like almost 2 hours doing it one time.
It does feel to me like when I'm casting, it feels like another race. Like I have to learn all the hotkeys and you know.
Yeah.
To remap everything, it's terrifying. So, anyway, natural down here for jheffe, and just a Reaper expand. His Reaper out on the map now, heading across. Oh, that's the SCV. Where's that Reaper?
Reaper is just about to pop out.
That's why I was like, man, it's been a long day of casting Steadfast. Thank you so much for sticking with me.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Anyway, Reaper hiding across now, but Astrea, not a lot to hide. Natural down in good time. Working on Warp Gate research. First Adept coming out. What do you think Astrea does here, or do you think the world is just kind of open to him right now, where he can do pretty much whatever he wants?
I wouldn't say it's that much in his favor. I definitely do think that he feels comfortable in this game. But yeah, he is getting a little bit tricky here by building that first Zealot. That is not something you see often, and that is going to be enough to definitely deny this this bunker. And wow. Okay.
Oh